All right, guys, so pay attention now.
Hey guys, this is Taj, the teacher. I'm here today with another exciting lesson. That's the same exact, I mean, that's the same exact girl I saw yesterday. That's a poor impersonation of a guy's voice. But that is what Mark said. What was wrong with what Mark said? Exact same or same exact is redundant. So let's explore the crime of redundancy. What is redundancy? Redundancy is when we use two or more words together that mean the same thing. In essence, we're just using an overflow of words, too many words to make our point. A lot of times, the modifier's meaning is contained in the word it modifies. For example, merge together. All right, so we're going to explore some overflow words or commonly used redundant expressions. Same exact. This one is very popular. The girl was wearing the same exact blouse yesterday. That is wrong. Instead, it should be the girl was wearing the same blouse yesterday. Reverse back. Reverse back the car. That is wrong. Reverse the car. It means to move backward. Revert back. I'll revert back to you later. Instead, we should say, I'll revert to you later. Repeat again. I'm going to repeat again what I said. That's wrong. Because when you use the word repeat, it's basically saying you're doing it again. You're saying it again. I am going to repeat what I said. And this one is so popular. You hear it at church, you hear it at school, you hear it at your workplace, you hear it on the road. A pleasant good morning. That is so wrong. A pleasant good morning to you. A pleasant good night to you. A pleasant good afternoon. That is incorrect. It should be a pleasant morning to you. And you have always been hearing reason why. The reason why is this is wrong. All right, here are more examples of redundant expressions. There are many more expressions that we may use unknowingly.
Lower
These are
down,
just a few of them.
merge
Know
together
any more
each and every.
vocabulary? You can go ahead and share them. My personal opinion. Me personally. Null and void. Collaborate together. Lower down. Each and every. Merge together. Final conclusion. Proceed forward. All right, so the next time Mark sees Sophia, he will know exactly what to say. Bye-bye to redundancies. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have learned a lot. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Miss, I'm guilty for all of those.
What is your opinion?
Miss, I'm guilty.
Say that again.
Miss, I'm guilty for all of them.
I'm used to.
Guilty.
Oh, we are all guilty as Jamaicans. We're all guilty as Jamaicans. That's the beauty of our language, you know. Right? That's odd. So here I have a little worksheet activity right here. So I need your assistance because this is riddled with redundancies. So as I read the sentences, you tell me what seems to be a repetition of something that we saw before. We're going to just put it in bold right here and now on this platform. So the first sentence says, I woke up early because I had a meeting at 7 a.m. this morning. What do you think is redundant in that one?
Early morning.
Early and this morning. All right, let me just put them in bold. Because these two expressions means the same thing as what? What do they mean? Same thing as?
Morning.
Did we see 7 a.m.? Isn't 7 a.m. also morning? And isn't that also early?
Yes, miss.
Yes, it is. Let's go to the next sentence now. It is a good thing I live in close proximity to my office, so I didn't have to leave too early. What seems to be the same thing there?
Close proximity.
Yes, close proximity. So we could just take out proximity, eh?
Yes,
So I'm going to put it bold to say that that one can be removed. Next sentence. I stopped at Starbucks, which is in the immediate vicinity of where I work. See any redundancies? There's one there. Two words mean the same thing in that sentence. Did you find it?
Oh, stop.
What stop mean?
Starbucks.
It's only one word in the sentence means stop. I stopped at Starbucks, which is in the immediate vicinity of where I work.
Immediate and vicinity.
Yes, immediate and vicinity.
Oh.
So I'm going to take out immediate because if we were to take out vicinity, the sentence wouldn't read well. We'd have to say I stopped at Starbucks, which is in the immediate of where I work. That's not making any sense. But if we said it is in the vicinity of where I work, that can make sense. So we're taking out immediate out of this to make the sentence sensible. Next one. I am missed if I don't show up at a meeting since the company is small in size. Any redundant?
Small in size.
Yes, small in size. So I'm going to take out in size because if we take out small, then the sentence won't read well. Sometimes to eliminate against redundancy, even though you're not going to correct it really right now, you'd probably think about this, correcting this for summary, but we're doing that next year. We're focusing on summary next year, right?
Yes, miss.
So in order to put some sense to this, we have to take out the one that doesn't affect the sentence that much. Next sentence now. This meeting was about our latest project. There's nothing in that one. We made a decision to collaborate together on it for the purpose of getting a variety of different ideas. Two sets of
collaborate together.
Did you see them?
Collaborate together.
Yes, collaborate together. And what else?
Variety.
Variety is the same thing as what?
Together.
Different.
No, different.
Yes, different ideas. So we can say for the purpose of getting different ideas. So let me take out all of this. Last two sentences now. Let me read that for you. It says, the creativity of this company is the reason why I took the job. Notice any redundant expression there?
No, miss.
I'm hearing a whisper.
No, miss.
Yeah, man, one is right here. We must avoid this one. You see, persons always say reason why. You must leave off the why. You hear? So you must say the reason I took.
Reason why is not proper.
Certainly not proper. Certainly not proper.
Okay. The reason I took
The job.
Yes, the answer is reason I took this job. We normally say reason why, but that's not correct.
Oh.
Job.
It is a great job, but at this point in time, I haven't gotten a raise as yet. What is the redundant expression here?
Gotten and raised.
Try again.
As yet, Miss
Mm?
point in time.
Definitely. At this point and in time are pretty much the same thing. It says a great job, but at this time, at this point, let me take out in time, just to preserve the meaning that is expressed there. All right.
I haven't gotten a raise as yet. Miss Jenna, so we Jamaican really talk
Think you
bad.
get the redundancy thing topped?
Kinda.
Yes. All right, I'm going to another one. This is the one called cliches. No, cliches. It's an expression or idea or element of an artistic work that has also been overused. So this is different from redundancy, you know. So redundancy is when you actually look in the sentence and use something that means the same thing as something else. With cliche, we're thinking about an expression that people normally say, but it has been used so frequently in regular conversation that it has lost its meaning. That sometimes when you hear it, you're kind of annoyed at hearing it because you have heard it so often, too often, in fact. And for English, this is recognized as an error. Now, I have a little video here that specifies some information on redundancy. Who jump off now? Marquise fell off. Let's hope that I'm seeing it come back. So let's listen up, guys. What are cliches? That's what we're trying to explore. Let me put it in presentation because it seems to be wobbly for me.
When you write, avoid cliches at all costs. In fact, avoid them like the plague. Cliches are ugly as sin and creep into our writing because they are a piece of cake to use. If an expression or phrase comes to mind easily, hold your horses and think, is this a cliche? Is this an overused statement that I hear all the time? In our plug and play culture, we want writing to be easy or at least efficient. Time is money and we have things to do and places to be. Who wants to fumble around with words and stare at the screen? When reality sets in, though, and the dust settles, one thing is crystal clear. Cliches are the enemy of good writing. George Orwell said, never use a metaphor, simile, or other figure of speech which you are used to seeing in print. This is a good rule of thumb. This is a good starting point. Think of this advice when you write. Be clear, experiment with words, and dare to write simply. Cliches litter not only your writing, but your thinking. They blind you from your thoughts. They rob you of who you are, an individual. Cliches are the echoes of the mob, the hum of a busy world. To find what you think and reveal who you are, you must declutter your writing. Otherwise, you are speaking the clunky language of others and forgetting yourself. Here is your mission. Delete the cliches from this transcript and rewrite it so the message is simple and precise.
All righty. So for those of us who are listening, we realize that all throughout the piece, the writer employed to use cliches all through. Did you hear any cliches? Did you hear any cliches, gentle people? Do I
It's
need to
about the
play it and pause it? I'm not sure. Did you hear hold your horses in the beginning? That's a cliche. All right, so let me play it and then I pause and acknowledge the cliches again, one last time.
When you write, avoid cliches at all costs. In fact, avoid them like the plague. Cliches are ugly.
So that was 2. Avoid it at all costs. And did you hear? Avoid it like the
ugly.
Well, these 2 expressions are cliches. A cliche.
Yes, creep into our writing because they are a piece of cake to use.
All right. So words like creep into our writing and piece of cake, those are cliches as well.
If an expression or phrase comes to mind easily, hold your horses and think, is this a cliche?
All right, remember I said hold your horses was one of them.
Yes, miss.
Is this an overused statement that I hear all the time? In our plug and play culture, we want writing.
Plug and play is another one.
Be easy or at least efficient. Time is money and we have things to do and places to be.
Hear that?
Who wants to fumble around with words and stare at a screen? When reality, when you
Yes,
write,
miss.
Did you hear those 2? Time is money. And who want to fumble around? Oh, those are cliches.
avoid cliches at all costs.
All cost.
In fact, avoid them like the plague.
Hold on there. Let me carry
Cliches
back
are
out.
ugly as sin. Creep into our writing.
Ugly as sin.
Is this a cliche? Plug and play culture. We want writing to be easy or at least efficient. Time is money and we have things to do and places to be.
Hear that? Things to do and places to be. Those are cliches.
Who wants to fumble around with words and stare at a screen? When reality sets in, though, and the dust settles,
Dust
one thing is
settles.
crystal clear.
Crystal
Cliches are the
clear.
enemy of good writing. George Orwell said, never use a metaphor, simile, or other figure of speech which you are used to seeing in print. This is a good rule of thumb.
Rule of thumb.
This is a good starting point. Think of this advice when you write. Be clear, experiment with words, and dare to write simply. Cliches litter not only your writing, but your thinking. They blind you from your thoughts.
Blind you from
They
your
rob you
thoughts.
of who you are, an individual. Cliches are the echoes of the mob.
Echoes of the mob.
World. To find what you think and reveal who you are, you must declutter your writing. Otherwise, you are speaking the clunky language of others and forgetting yourself.
Cranky language.
Here is your mission. Delete the cliches from this transcript and rewrite it so the message is simple and precise.
All right, so pretty much the point is you're gonna read when you're reading. Sometimes you're reading English and it sounds a bit strange and it sounds a bit low, old. Then you know for a certainty that you are really using cliches. All right. So make any is that any bit clearer for us? Because I know that this one was new to most of us. Does this seem clearer?
Yes,
A bit, yes.
Oh, look like somebody has dropped off.
Alex.
The man said this chatting, this thing here, you know, they keep bouncing out and they can't come back in unless I let them in. All right, so let's go to the next one now. Let me see if I can come out of the slide. All right, so we're going to look at, or so we had done redundancies, we did cliches, and now it's mixed metaphor. Now, what exactly is a mixed metaphor? Well, a mixed metaphor is really an expression that seems to combine one or more or two or more metaphors in such a way that it's not making any sense. And it can sound awkward or confusing. So if we are faced with that information that seems awkward or confusing, then more likely we're seeing a mixed metaphor being presented. And sometimes too, in creating metaphoric expression, we if we inject it at a location that doesn't make sense, it becomes a misused metaphor. So let's watch a video to see how best we treat with these. Let me see if anybody has come back into the chat section here. Okay, still. They still had bounced off permanently, no?
A mixed metaphor in writing is usually defined as any sentence or passage that contains two or more metaphors that don't really fit with each other. And if you look at the first example here, we see a mixed metaphor. We have Tom and Sally drifting apart, kind of like two ships that are on the ocean. And then it also says they didn't sever all ties. So severing all ties, you can think of like a rope or something like that, and splitting in the middle or tearing apart. You can see then that these metaphors don't quite fit, right? Unless the two ships are being tied together with a rope. Ship number one, ship number two, and now we have the two metaphors working together. But I think you can tell that this doesn't quite work, and we would be better off picking one metaphor and developing it more consistently. So that's a mixed metaphor then, at least as most people would define it. A sentence or passage that has two or more metaphors that don't really fit together. Some people define a mixed metaphor more narrowly as basically two metaphors that have really got kind of muddled up and stuck together. If you say, for instance, he was a duck out of water, the usual expression is he was a fish out of water. Now, I suppose it still works as a duck out of water. But if somebody says this, they've probably thought of another metaphor, which is that it's water off a duck's back. And they've just kind of jumbled the two metaphors or the two expressions together and turned it into a duck out of water. So that's another way to think of mixed metaphors, as taking two metaphors or expressions and really squishing them together, as opposed to simply loosely having them somewhere in the same sentence. We're not going to look at this second kind of example as much. We're going to really focus on our first definition of a mixed metaphor, and we'll look at a few more examples. So here are a few more examples then. The first one goes, let's not complain, let's soldier on silently while we drum up some more support. And I hope you can see that drumming up is quite loud, whereas soldiering on silently is quite silent. So it doesn't quite match, does it? The next one has a whole bunch of metaphors. It goes, oh no, she's broken down again. Think of like a car breaking down. She's just a sea of tears, a roller coaster of emotions. I don't know if many people would write like this, but you can see the problem here. Too many metaphors. And then the last example here, at least the short examples, is one that uses mixed metaphors, but maybe does it correctly, because it's not always wrong to mix metaphors. This one says he's not down to earth, so think of like literally being down to earth. He always has his head in the clouds. You can see that head in the clouds, that raises her eyes upwards, and down to earth sort of makes us look down. But in this case, it's a contrast, and I think the two expressions nicely work together to create this kind of contrast. That's where you can see that mixed metaphors, while you should watch out for them, are not always bad. And I hesitate to suggest that you delete every single mixed metaphor. But if you do mix your metaphors too much, then you end up with this kind of passage, and we'll finish with this. This is a passage from a scholarly work, and in general, it's quite a good book. The book is called The Law is a White Dog. Quite an interesting book, but it contains a ridiculous amount of jargon and a lot of mixed metaphors. So I picked out this passage to show you how mixed metaphors can really muddle up your writing. Here we have the common law hoard of precedent, and I think of a hoard as something like a hoard of treasure, right? That Smaug, the dragon, maybe is protecting. Then we have a bunch of jargon in its language and iteration. Iteration just means repetition. Drags into light the myths of modernity. I'm not sure how you literally drag a myth. A myth is sort of a concept. It's a story. It's not something you can really drag. But the other question is, how does a hoard drag anything? You can drag a hoard, but a hoard doesn't drag, right? And then we have precincts. There's our next metaphor. Suddenly we're talking about the limits or the boundaries of a city quarter or a house. So we've jumped from a hoard to a house or a city. We have the residues of human materials. Okay. What does this mean? It's sort of an odd expression. And then we talk about dredging. Dredging means to go into a river and to crawl through all the mud in the river and so on and dredge out anything that's left in there. Well, maybe that works with residues, but it doesn't work with any of the other metaphors, right? It doesn't really work. Certainly not with precincts, like how many people go dredging inside a house, let's say. And then we have another metaphor with doors. So you can see that it's just a whole series of metaphors, and they just don't work well together. This is the kind of thing that you want to watch out for in your writing. It's one thing to mix the occasional metaphor, but if you end up with passages like this, then you know that you've gone astray. So let that be a warning. There you go. That's it for mixed metaphors.
Alrighty, guys. So whenever you're reading something, the essence is that whenever you're reading something and it appears as if some description is being given and the description given seems to be merging two different expressions together, then it's mixed metaphor. Do you have the mixed metaphor too that has off within it? So that is something that we need to look out for. Still merging two ideas, but it's separated by off. Any questions, ladies?
No.
Because I'm not sure where the males are.
No, miss.
All righty.
A mixed metaphor in writing is usually defined as any sentence or pattern.
All right, so here this is how the instruction for CSEC would really look. Don't watch a presentation now, we're looking at the instruction. So they might say, circle the option A, B, or C, because remember they're shading, it should actually say shade, you know. Shade the option A, B, or C, or D, that best describes each of the following statement. So we're having this circling happening right here now. So we're gonna have to write. Let me go back. Hold on there before we go to this part, the blog. Okay, because I'm in presentation, I'm going to be a little bit different to make the correction, difficult to make the correction. And that kind of peep you on the answers. But no mind. Let's talk. So normally they say A, the sentence is acceptable as it is. So you see what I'm talking about? Or they switch it around? Because normally we'd have acceptable sentence being D. But in this particular year, they had the A up the top. So that is why you have to be careful. So the sentence has no error. For this particular segment, you choose A. B, no. If it uses a cliches or misused metaphor, you choose B. C is when you have an error in terms of grammar. So it could be a spelling error, or it could be how words are used in the sentence. So if something off in terms of subject verb agreement or antecedent agreement or spelling, then we're going to put C. if we see where it's too wordy or repetitive or contains redundancy, then we put D. So, just looking at the sentence here now. I arrived at the interview right in the nick of time. Which answer do you think that one is? Which letter response would you put right there and why? Ladies?
Miss?
Which letter response will you put right here? Is this okay? Is everything okay with this one?
Miss, I will say
In the nick of the night.
of
In the
time.
nick of time sounds strange, not true. What it sounds like to you?
It sounds like the first one that we're dealing with, what cliche, I think.
Cliches. So looking back over here, so this one seemed to use cliche, so that is why we would put B for this one. So they give you the sentence and they ask to put the option. So that is why for this one, it would have to be B. See it?
Yes, miss.
Right. So this one now, number 2, all at once, he was done. Sorry, he was alone in the noisy hive with no place to roost. What do you think about that one?
Same cliche.
Because we know the roost is this expression here and noisy hive, like a bee's hive. So it's misused metaphor taking place right here. So this is mostly misused metaphor and a bit of a cliche, but it's still B. 3, she is a character which constantly dreams to escape a mundane reality. What do you think?
Monday reality. With a cliche also.
This is nothing that I have ever heard before, and I'm sure you never hear before it because the word's strange.
Monday reality.
Yeah. But when we talk about people who don't use
that
the word which, when we talk about people, we use the word who. So she's the character who. So because of that, no, this one would have to be C because it's faulty in diction. I think you kind of stuck up on the word mundane. So let's look at that word. Let's ask Google about that word. There is an expression called mundane reality, but it's not cliche. So the word mundane has, it says lacking interest or excitement, dull. So when someone says mundane reality, it appears as if we're talking about something that is not interesting. So she wants to escape boredom. That is what it is saying in extension. So understand this, she wants to escape boredom. Just remember, when you're talking about person, you don't use which, not like that. You use who. Look at number 4 now. When he raised his voice, his boss asked him to hold his tongue since empty vessels make the most noise.
Empty barrel. Mrs. will be a misuse.
Yes, a little bit of misuse, but at the same time, it's cliches. Do you know this one? Empty vessels make the most noise. Yes, but when it muddle up together with this.
In Jamaica, we normally say empty barrel.
Yes, we normally say empty barrel. So it's misuse or mix up. All right, let me put this up the top so we can see number 5. So number 5 says, in my opinion, I think that your suggestions to upgrade housing facilities in rural areas is impractical. What do you think?
I don't see anything wrong with
it. I will say A.
Yeah, man, this is wrong, man. You probably didn't see anything wrong with it because in Jamaica, we always say, in my opinion, I think. But when you give your opinion, it's really your thoughts that you are giving. So you are correct. I think it was Nicola who said it is A. So no, it's not A. Sorry, wrong. It is D.
B.
It is D. Because normally we see this, you know, we always see this, or upon choose A because A would be
Wordy.
redundancy. But for this year, they had switch it around for us. And they had A as acceptable and D as redundancy. So we have to read. I almost got caught in the trap a while ago. So notice the answers there for us. Notice the answers there for us. Now we're going to go into our last activity for tonight. I know we're going way over. Probably that's why the guys left, because I took some time out to mark and so. So we're going way over into borrowed time, but this is the last lap. And then I leave you this one, an introduction to blog. So this is still section B, so we have only 2 more left in this section. That's article and notice. So I doubt we're going to get to notice before we go into the break, because the final week will be the week of the 13th, that week there. That will be the test week. So we probably only are going to end up doing article. And then when we come back after the Easter break, we're going to just jump into notices, and then we go over into section D of the paper. All right. So an introduction to blogging. What exactly is a blog? Let's listen, please.
What is a blog? Originally created from the words web and log, a blog is just that. A blog is the logging of one's thoughts, ideas, experiences, and more, all in one place on the web. You've probably seen them around, but what makes them so great? Well, blogs are easy to use, and with a few clicks, you can share thoughts, opinions, news, anything. Your blog is a staple of who you are, the ultimate expression of you on the web. Your blog's theme is what controls how your blog looks. You can choose a theme and personalize it with your own colors and or background images to find the look that fits you. It's easy to change themes as well, so you'll always be sure that there's a look and feel out there that fits with your personality and makes it easy for visitors to find what they're looking for. Most blog themes are made up of 4 main sections: the header, the sidebar, the footer, and the body. The header is comprised of your blog's title or logo if you have one, and your main navigation menu. The menu is the way that your guests should be easily able to navigate the content of your site. Menus are a natural part of our web experience and should link readers to the various content and pages found on your blog. Sidebars. Blogs usually have them. This area generally includes widgets and things you want to highlight, such as your favorite links, the popular content on your blog, recent activity, subscription options, and social media tools, just to name a few. The footer rests at the bottom of your blog. This is typically used to display content that doesn't often change, but that you would like your readers to have easy access to, including links to read more about you or a link to a contact page. Lastly, the most important area of your blog is the body, the main content area. Usually, this is the primary reason people have come to your blog. It's where your thoughts and ideas come to life as you share them within the post or page the content lies within. Post? Page? What's the difference? Pages are different from posts. They're normally static, displaying standard content such as an About Me or a contact page. Posts, on the other hand, are all the good stuff, where you publish your thoughts. In a standard blog format, posts get shown on the main page of your blog, usually in an order that places the most recent and relevant information at the very top of the list. These are things like your daily updates or news about your niche topic. When a new story is posted, it appears at the top of your blog for the world to see. This used to be done in journals. Posts are an online version of a journal entry, made public for others to see. Best of all, posts give the option for a comment section as well, so others can add their thoughts to yours, share in a conversation with you, or just provide feedback about your blog. This brings a community element to blogs, making them a popular medium of expression and information sharing. Blogs make it easy to share images, video, and other types of media files, giving you complete freedom of creative expression. And now, with the popularity of mobile phones, Your blog can be viewed anytime, from anywhere, in the palm of your hand. Blogs are for everyone, and people of all ages share on blogs every day for school, work, and play. But no matter what you want to do, blogging is a great way to connect with other people and get your ideas out there. So what are you waiting for? Get in on the fun and start blogging today.
Okay, almost at the end, guys. So I think I got ahead of myself earlier on when I said that I might touch on articles. This is just an introduction, so we'll write the blog next week, and then when we return, God spare our lives, come January, we'd have 2 concepts left in section B to do. So a blog is really a web log. So it's kind of like an online diary or a journal that is usually on a website. And we know it's on a website because up here in the URL, we see www. Now, in a blog, you can have text, pictures, videos, GIFs, animations, and some copied information. And if it's a personalized blog, you could have, you set it at a, the settings could either be presented to the public or privately. But there are really 4 parts to this blog that we're talking about. You have the heading with the menu and page links. You have the sidebars and with widgets and digital links. You have the body and you have the footer with contact information. But for CSEC, really, we are focusing on writing the body for the blog. So in order to write a blog, we need to start first of all with a catchy title. And then we have an introduction which explains what will be in the body of the blog. And then we give a quick overview of what we plan to teach the readers right in the introduction there. Then we would have the body with subheadings. And the information must be factual that we are presenting here, as would have been related for us what CSEC would want us to do right here in terms of the blog details. Again, we're going to spearhead and separate it into the body paragraphs just to get it looking like 3 paragraphs. Then now for the blog, we end with a conclusion. And the conclusion would express recommendations, or as we call it, solutions. And then we end the blog with a question. So here is a typical sample blog. So here's the catchy title here, how to write the best blog post. Then we have the introduction. Why are blogs important? In this day and age, many persons share their opinions, experiences, and advertise their goods and services online. To do this well, many opt to use a blog. This blog post is to give an overview on how bloggers can create the best blog post. So notice the introduction there. It gives us 3 things. First of all, it starts with an expression that kind of convey our title. Then we see 2 sentences that speak to the title of interest. And then finally, we have a sentence that tells the reader what the body of this blog will be about. Can I give an overview? Now, speaking of the body, notice the headings there, the structure, important facts, interesting blog post. And under each heading, we have detailed paragraphs for focusing on each. So in terms of the structure now, a blog post should have 5 areas. It should have a heading, an introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. In a personal blog, use images, pictures, video links, and bulleted points. For the sake of examinations, focus on using well-developed paragraphs. Now, in important facts, a blog post must have an interesting hook. Ensure that you use very well-developed paragraphs. When writing the post, be very conversational. Remember to always end with a question. Now, the third developing paragraph has as its heading, interesting blog post. So notice the developing paragraph here now. The most interesting blog posts are those with a great conclusion. There should be a very interesting topic. Many are captivated by blogs with great facts and or opinions. The aim is to wow your readers so they make a comment on your blog post. All right, so we're just exiting the body paragraph. Look at the conclusion here now. As expressed before, blogs are now the in thing, so as not to be left behind, make sure to write the blog that sees you being true to yourself. Bloggers recommend that other bloggers write on interesting topics, start strong and end strong. So notice the essence of the conclusion as we summarize what was in the body is really to provide some kind of solution so that we continue blogging. Notice the question, please. If you were to write a blog, what would you blog about? And that's how we end our blog. We always end our blogs with a question. All right? So I'm sure you would have noticed that the blog itself started with a title. And we would have seen that the introduction explained what was supposed to be taught in the body. And we saw the subheadings all throughout. But nothing is wrong if you just focus it on 3, which would be the body paragraphs. And as we go through, realize that we had at least 3 focused body paragraphs, but the overall blog would present itself using 5 paragraphs. And as we focus on the conclusion that had solutions for us, we noticed that there was an ending. So when you're up to it, you can just go ahead and check, please, the platform, and under paper 2 assessment, you would see a little activity there, very short and simple activity that you can use. It's kind of like a comprehension task. So if you're looking under paper 2, so this is what we're talking about, the information here. Let me just pull it up quickly, and so that will be our exiting point. So pretty much what you'll be seeing here is just a description of a blog and some questions that are set on it. You are all given one, a copy was sent to you, so you should be able to go onto the document and just right answer, and then go up to the top up here, so you see the button, turn it in and just turn it. That should come over to me. So this is the blog, and these are questions. What is the catchy phrase? What's the main idea expressed in the blog? What do you think is the writer's purpose or intention for writing this blog? Write 2 questions on the blog that supports the writer's purpose or intention. And number 5, do you think that the blog was properly written and structured? You're asked to say yes or no and give the reason for your answer. And then 6 now, how can you share your thoughts on pinch of yum? So you have to go back to the passage for that particular answer. And if you were to create a blog, what would you blog about and why? So that's it. Guys, any questions? So next week we actually write the blog. But any questions for this week? Any questions? Gentle folks?
No, man.
All righty. So that's it for me, guys. That's it from me. So
Okay, thank you.
you are most welcome. I see the guys left us hanging. Boy, I tell you. I don't know why guys do that. All right, so that's it. Have a good night and a safe rest of the week. So God spare life. We'll see each other again next week, Wednesday. Have a great night, guys.
Miss, I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
Miss, you can stop the recording.
All right.